How nice of you to show up. My name is Ollie, and yes, this is your loaf of daily bread. Today's loaf comes to us by way of Marcus Aurelius, who says the following. Whenever you are forced by circumstances to be disturbed in some way, quickly return to yourself, and do not lose your footing any longer than is absolutely necessary. For you will have more control over your internal harmony by continually returning to it. I never knew that it was possible to withdraw from negative emotional states deeper into yourself to a place that is at peace. I didn't think this was possible until I did it for the first time some years ago. Whenever I start to feel angry or disappointed or bitter or anything like that, if I have the presence of mind to withdraw deeper into myself, into my center, as I like to call it, into the eye of the storm, then I'm able to quiet things down very quickly. By which I mean my anger dissolves, my bitterness goes away, and I feel calm again. Now, I've mentioned in the past that if you develop a practice and you stick to it, you'll probably notice a reduction in these types of negative emotions. You'll experience less of them. But that doesn't mean you won't experience them at all. And if my personal experiences are any indication, you probably will continue to experience these things for the rest of your life. Emotions are physiological, neurochemical reactions, and when something triggers those reactions, there isn't a whole lot you can do about it. You can either go with it, or you can find a way to do as Marcus Aurelius suggests in this passage, which is to withdraw into yourself, away from the negative emotions that are assailing you, to a place that is quiet and still, to a place that gives you a better perspective on your own emotions and the beliefs and thoughts that triggered them. Because that's usually what triggers these neurological, physiological reactions. It's not usually events in the world. It's our beliefs about those events, our opinions, our presumptions, and our expectations. And these things are hard to see when you're being whipped around by powerful storms. But as soon as you retreat into the eye of the storm, into your center, then you can regain that inner harmony that Marcus Aurelius describes. And the more often you do this, the easier it becomes to do. There are a number of segues that I really want to pursue right off of this quote right now. For instance, I made a video a long time ago about the difference between an ordered mind and a disordered mind. And the analogy that I drew was between a maze, which is a chaotic jumble of dead ends and misleading passages, versus a labyrinth, which typically offers one way to the center and one way out. Now, when you start to order your mind, when you start to eliminate false beliefs and you start to pay attention to what happens in here, the mind becomes a labyrinth. And then it becomes easier and easier to find your center because there's only one path. You don't get lost. As long as you remember to go to the center, you will find your way there, and it'll get quicker and quicker. Now, if you haven't done this yet, finding your center is a lot like navigating a maze. Not a labyrinth, a maze, which is a very different proposition. A labyrinth is symmetrical, orderly. It provides a clear direction to the center, but a maze is not like this. A maze is treacherous, and you can get lost in there very easily. And this is what happens when we get lost in our emotions, whether positive or negative. It's just that when they're positive, it doesn't really pose much of a problem for us. When we feel joy and pleasure and bliss, we might goof up a little bit because we're excited or intoxicated with these things, but overall, we don't usually make grave mistakes when we're intoxicated with joy or love. It's when we're angry, bitter, when we feel like we've been disrespected. That's when these things become a problem. So next time you feel those negative emotions start to well up, I hope that you'll be present enough to remember this quote. It has helped me many times in my life, and these are words that just pop up into my head every once in a while, like a little reminder. Like, hey, Ollie, you're getting a little angry there. Maybe you should seek the center. Maybe you should find your inner harmony again before you do or say something you regret. Well, I certainly hope that this video and this quote were helpful for you. I hope they provided something of value. I hope that this wasn't a waste of your time. And if it was, well, I'll try to do better next time. Until then, live well, my friends.